A well-known weight loss expert, Dr. Jason Fung, says you can speed up fat loss with a few simple tricks after dinner. In his view, the hours after your evening meal open a natural window of nighttime fasting, when insulin levels drop and the body automatically shifts from storing energy to burning it. The problem is that, according to circadian rhythms, dinner usually falls right at the time when hunger is at its strongest.
You can look at natural circadian rhythms in terms of hunger. So if you take a bunch of people, just say, how hungry are you? And just aggregate the data. People are hungriest at 8 p.m. and least hungry at 8 a.m.
That's why, during this period, you often feel craving for sweets or the urge to eat something even when you're already full. And this is exactly where the key to faster weight loss lies, in that evening hunger. Pharmaceutical companies figured this out a long time ago, which is why drugs like Ozempic were created. Dr. Fung points out that these medications don't actually burn fat. What they really do is remove hunger during the peak hours when it's usually strongest.
When you focus on the hunger, such as with drugs such as, Ozempic, then you lose weight. But it's not just Ozempic. It's really, if you look at the history of drugs that cause weight loss, it's always about the hunger. So what controls hunger? Well, it's really your hormones, right? There's all these hormones that affect your body set weight, which is like your thermostat, but it acts through the hunger. So if you activate GLP-1, you're going to reduce hunger. But before that, there was fen-phen, right? And fen-phen, if you remember, was fenfluramine, phentermine, which acted upon two pathways, one of which was increased sympathetic tone. And increased sympathetic tone, which is one of the fight or flight response, is a hormone, and it reduces hunger. So phentermine, increased sympathetic tone, reduced hunger, people lost weight. And fen-phen caused a 17% reduction in body weight.
You can achieve a very similar effect without any medication by using the time after dinner as a catalyst to control hunger over the next 24 hours. The simplest way to start is this. After dinner, drink a cup of hot green tea with ginger. The key ingredient here is ginger. Very few people realize that its natural heat stimulates your sensory receptors and creates a kind of sensory noise that overrides food cravings and helps suppress appetite. At the same time, the warmth and spiciness of the drink cause blood vessels to dilate, activate the parasympathetic nervous system, and enhance the feeling of fullness.
The ginger has lots of benefits in addition to the hunger management because it increases the thermic effect of food and it promotes satiety. Here we have the meta-analysis, which shows the effect on hunger and satiety. You have less hunger, more satisfaction, you feel more full, and at the next meal, you will eat less. There is an overall beneficial effect on weight loss to taking ginger.
The effect of ginger is long-lasting. It helps extend the body's natural overnight fasting window and carry it into the morning. As a result, you may naturally eat fewer calories at breakfast, or even skip it altogether. During this time, your body can stay in fat-burning mode, using stored fat to supply you with energy. It's also important that the tea is green. Green tea is the only drink that contains catechins, capable of suppressing the secretion of the hunger hormone ghrelin in the stomach.
One of these trials from 2016 showed that one of the effects of these green tea catechins is to reduce ghrelin. Lower ghrelin equals less hunger equals we eat less. And in this study, they showed that you could reduce the weight by about 1.6 kilograms. So that's a really important benefit just for drinking some green tea.
It's just as important to deal with the psychological side of hunger. Dr. Jason Fung believes that the evening spike in hunger is not driven only by physical needs, but also by hedonic ones. In other words, after a long, tiring day, food is often used not to satisfy hunger, but to get pleasure or cope with stress. Simply put, you keep eating even when your body is already telling you that you're full.
If you think about why you eat, it's not simply because you're hungry, right? And it's like, if you think about dessert, Nobody eats dessert because they're hungry. You just had a full meal, right? You eat dessert because it looks good and it tastes good and makes you feel good, right? That's the whole thing about comfort foods, right? You eat it so that you feel better, right? So if you break up with your boyfriend, girlfriend, you eat a whole tub of ice cream. Well, why? Because it's a comfort food, because it's making you feel better. That is, it's releasing dopamine and other rewarding substances in your brain that make your mood feel better. So same with the hedonic hunger, right? It's just like, you finish your meal, you're not hungry, but you have this nice, brownie or whatever, and you want to eat it because it looks good. And when you eat it, it gives you pleasure, right?
That's why taking a warm shower or a hot bath after dinner can help. First, it lowers cortisol, which can trigger insulin spikes and lead to sudden hunger. Second, it relieves fatigue, which is often easy to mistake for hunger. In simple terms, you stop falling for hormonal tricks and instead remove their root cause. Besides a warm shower, you can keep a glass of salted water by your bed. Sometimes hunger urges show up right before sleep, but in reality, this can be a drop in sodium levels, often caused by stress. A few sips of salted water can fix that, and the hunger feeling fades. It's also important to understand that sleep plays a key role in weight loss. According to Dr. Jason Fung, sleep is not only a window of natural fasting when you're not eating, but also a time when your body actively resets for fat loss. During deep sleep, insulin sensitivity improves, and most importantly, the production of the satiety hormone leptin increases.
Leptin is the satiety hormone. That is, it tells your body to simply stop eating because you're full. If you are misaligned in the circadian rhythm, then leptin is much lower, which means practically that people are going to be hungrier. So they're not hungry because of some, psychological reason that they want to munch during the night. They're just hungrier because their hormones are telling them to eat. Their leptin levels are lower, so they don't get that signal to stop eating. And obviously, these two very important facts are going to put them at much higher risk of obesity.
That's why it's so important to prepare your body for deep sleep, so you can enter it faster and stay there longer. The easiest way to do this is by activating the vagus nerve. After dinner, don't overload your body. Go to bed a few hours earlier, and when you feel sleep starting to come, focus on your breathing by making the exhale longer than the inhale. Breathe in for about 4 seconds, then breathe out for around 8 seconds. Your sleep is, once again, the foundation of the next day. Less food cravings, less overeating, and more time for your body to stay in fat burning mode.
That is, you're going to have a little bit less of the glucose spike, a little less of the insulin spike, and your leptin levels may be a little bit higher, which is going to translate into a less fattening effect of the calories you're taking, but also that you're less hungry so that you're taking less overall. But you're doing it in harmony with your body. You're not trying to force anything on your body. And that's why it's really important to look not just at your diet, but other things such as sleep.
All of these small after-dinner rituals already solve a big part of the weight loss problem. But at the same time, this is only the beginning of the process, the first step that should naturally lead to other changes. This isn't about efficiency for the sake of efficiency. It's about making weight loss as easy as possible. If you spend the time between dinner and sleep the right way, it becomes much easier to avoid snacking the next day. It becomes easier a week later to look at your diet more honestly and, for example, reduce carbohydrates to speed things up even more. And how to cut carbs without unnecessary effort is exactly what Dr. Andrew Kutnick explains in the video that's already on your screen.